We're with Allison Wylie, one of the 8 seniors on the Eastern Connecticut women's lacrosse team. Eastern getting ready for its 2018 season opener that'll be February 24th at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London. Allison, you guys have been practicing for about a month, and your season opener is coming up. Generally, how has preseason gone?
Preseason has gone pretty good. We have had a lot of fun, and we are very fortunate with the weather. We were only inside the gym one day, which was our first day. So we've been on the field, and the snow really hasn't affected us at all. So we've had our full field to play with, and it's really awesome to be on the field for preseason because we've had preseasons where we're in the gym, and it really hurts us when we're in the gym. One issue we have had is illnesses. We had about roughly 8 girls out with the flu that went around. Luckily, it was in the beginning of the season. We also had coach out for a week with an illness as well. So it kind of hurt us, but we do have our new assistant coach, Devin Duran, who stepped it up, and we didn't feel that we lost anything that week or lost important time because she really filled in and stepped up in coach's shoes for that 1 week where coach couldn't be here. So I think we're ready. We've been really practicing the new rules in lacrosse. So we have a shot clock now, so we've been practicing the shot clock, and we've been really just working on getting faster and stronger, and it's been a lot of conditioning, which we need because we play a team like the Coast Guard who's in phenomenal shape that we need to be ready. And now that there's free movement on the whistle, it's a fast game, and we've been learning that. It's going to be a quick game, and there's a 90-second shot clock, so there could potentially be really high scores, and this game is going to go really fast. So I'm excited to see the new rules and what it does to lacrosse, especially playing for roughly 12 years, just to see from where the sport started to now. I think it's a good change for lacrosse. So this preseason, we've really been practicing using the shot clock and using free movement. We've been doing a lot of scrimmaging just to get used to decision making and trusting teammates. A lot of us have been playing a lot of new positions just to get ready and see what's going to come with us, because it's a new sport for all of us. Doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior coming in. So it's a good change, but we've been really working on it. We've been in the gym 3 times a week with Coach Jones and his interns, working out as a team, which we didn't do that before. So it's really building our team chemistry. And preseason, it seems like it's going to be a long time, but it went by really fast. So
We'll talk about free movement, exactly what free movement is for the person that doesn't really watch lacrosse.
So essentially, if other than on the draw and in the critical scoring area, it's if the ref blows the whistle, you don't have to stop. Where last year, if the ref blew the whistle, you stopped and they set it up and you went again. So the sport really was a lot of stop and go, where now it is one fluid moment where if the other team checks us illegally, we pick up the ball, we go. So very similar to field hockey with their free movement on the whistle. And if you're in the critical scoring area, that's when the whistle stops it and you have to stop. But people who aren't in the critical scoring area, who are back on restraining, they don't have to stand still. So it's going to take some time to get used to, especially for us who've been playing since we were little. It's going to be a big change for us. I mean, I felt that just on the play day. I was stopping just because that's what you did. So it's going to be it's going to be a big change for us, but I think for the sport and for other people watching, it's going to be faster. It's going to be more intense and more fun. So I think it's a good change for lacrosse. We definitely have to be in good shape, though, in all positions. You used to be able to get away with it if you were in a certain position, but everyone has to move, and it's going to make lacrosse, I think it's going to be more intense, and I think you're going to have to really depend on your teammates to get that ball up the field, because you can't really run it down yourself. It's because you have to save your energy for when it's needed, especially if you're a player who's on that field majority of the game.
So when will helmets come in?
helmets are starting to come in at D1. Luckily, I'm leaving before they put us in helmets, but I think in the next couple years you're going to start seeing helmets, which I wouldn't be mad about. It's not fun getting hit in the head, and especially with concussions nowadays, I think you're going to start seeing it. I mean, Florida already made it a state law that in the public schools you have to be wearing a helmet for women's lacrosse.
But when they say helmet, as what somebody told me, when they say helmet, it's not like the helmet of the men's game.
No.
Isn't it more modified and compact?
Yeah, it connects to the goggles, so you would still have the same goggles. So they're really not changing the sport. They don't want to put us in those kind of helmets because men's lacrosse and women's lacrosse is completely different.
Should be.
Different lines on the field, different sticks, different colored balls, everything. So they want to keep it women's lacrosse. They said we didn't need helmets because if it's reffed correctly, it's a non-contact sport, but anyone who watches or plays lacrosse knows it's a contact sport. So if it keeps people healthy and not having concussions, then I don't see what's wrong with it. So I think in the next couple of years you'll definitely start. I mean, D1 players now are wearing them, so especially Syracuse has, I think, 4 or 5 girls with helmets on. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being safe.
Well, it was like pro hockey. There was years where helmets were optional, and then after a number of years, everybody wore them.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're going to look back on it in 10 years from now when helmets are mandatory, and people are going to say, 10 years ago, it's hard to believe, but they didn't even require helmets. And you know what I mean? It's going to be like, that's just the way it is.
And I think it's a good thing too, just for safety wise. You wear mouth guards for concussions, and it's an aggressive game. You don't leave without a bruise sometimes, especially against some other teams. So as much as a ref they can blow their whistle 50 times in a game, but when you have momentum and you're shooting the ball, you can't control it from hitting someone. So I think 10 years from now, I won't even know the sport because of how much it's changed over just my career.
You're
playing.
right. Even in 4 years. You guys have 8 players back from last year. You lost a ton, but you have 8 players back, and you have 4 of your top 5 scorers. Probably the key players lost would be maybe Taylor Emerson, your goalie, Paige Schneider, midfielder of the year in the conference, Devin Duran, defensive player of the year in the conference. But talk about what you have coming back.
So even though we did lose Devin as a player, we are very fortunate to have her back on the sidelines. She knows us as a team, and it was an opportunity where our assistant coach left to go coach St. Joe's, and there was an opening, and she's available, and she's a great coach from what I've seen. So it's been huge having her back just from defense. We have on our attack side, our whole attack is back. We didn't lose anyone on attack other than Paige and, Schneider and Caroline Regan. But even though we lost Paige and she was a huge part of our team and she had an insane amount of goals, now without her there, we now have Michelina Pinto and Alyssa Powers and Katie Burke, Jenna Glenn, who are really going to step it up. And especially in practice, you see it. Alyssa Powers, you put her on the crease and you give her the ball, she's going to put it in the back of the net. So it's been awesome to just kind of see how her and Michelina Pinto have been really working together. So we can get them the ball. I wouldn't hesitate for a second that they're going to put it in the back of the net. So I think the attack, we still have a lot to go, we have ways to go and we're still working together. But us as a team in general, we now just have to make sure that it's not any shot, it's the best shot, because right when you shoot that ball, you have 90 seconds to make a great shot. So it's not really like you can just shoot it as many times and get it back. You have 90 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up and really, I think we all really blended in together last year because we were such a big team we gave the ball to Paige every time, and no matter who they put on her, she was going to get through. But we have so many great players that are coming back, like the ones I just named, and they're going to, I wouldn't worry for a second that they're not going to do the right thing. And I think from defense, we did lose majority of our defense, but at the same time, we still have Taylor Bain and we have Allison Nadeau and Katie Calnan, who are vocal, and in practice so far they've been really helpful to the new people who are learning defense. We have Devin on the sideline who's who has stepped in and really shown us what to do. And I think it's going to take some time to learn how to really set it up, and I think it may even take until we hit the LEC teams to know. But with any team, when you're going to lose people, you only have 4 years of eligibility. So we did lose a good amount of players, and they were very important not only on the field but off the field. We were really a tight team last year. So I think that so far have had a great run with just working together and personalities, and we don't have a captain, so we as a senior class, the 8 of us that have returned, we all work together, and along with the 3 juniors we've really worked together to kind of make this team chemistry better. And it's not that my class is a big class, there's 8 of us, so we've been playing, most of us have played on the field our freshman year, and Taylor Bain came from Albany, and she's been playing since she's gotten here. So most of us we are aware of what's happening, and we've been on the field, and we played with those graduating seniors. So I think it's going to be, every team has lost people, Plymouth, Keene,
That's what people don't
Western.
Look at. Every team does.
Every team has lost.
You talked about the offense and the defense. How about the goalie situation? Will be something that's very different than has been the last 4 years. Talk about the goalie situation.
So for my 3 years, we've had Taylor Emerson in our goal, and she was a phenomenal goalie, and I wouldn't even compare her to any other goalie just because she looked little and there was a lot of net, but she stopped that ball and she was fast. So our 3 goalies right now, we are very lucky to have 3 goalies. When my years, we've only had 2, and my freshman year we only had Taylor. So we were very lucky she stayed healthy. But we have 3 new goalies, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Jess Purick, she's a lefty goalie, and I know just from a shooting standpoint, it is very hard to shoot on a lefty goalie. So she knows the team. She's seen college time. She knows what the sport is like, and there's a big difference between high school and college lacrosse just by speed. And now with all these new rules. Sarah Farrig, she's from Long Island. She's big, she's loud, and she really is vocal in there. She's been having some wonderful saves, and she's a good teammate. All 3 of them have been awesome. And Olivia Donahue, she had a phenomenal couple games in the play day. She was saving majority of the 8-meter shots. So they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, and I think that they really actually all help each other out in practice. It's not a competition between them. They really have worked together, and Taylor Emerson, even, we were very lucky to have her come back and work with the goalies. So I think it's going to be a big change for Eastern lacrosse, and I think that we have potential. Last year was, technically, they like to say it was our year to win, and we did win the regular season, and we hopefully will see Plymouth again in the tournament. So I think that this year we even have potential, and it's going to be a lot harder, but it's hard every year. So we went against some great teams last year, and I think what's going to come down to it is our team chemistry, and if we can trust each player on that field to get the ball down. So. Last
question, Allison. You came in, the year before you came to Eastern, the team had a losing record. Your freshman year, they had a losing record. And then the last couple of years, you guys have been outstanding. I think you've only lost 1 conference game in the regular season. When you leave the program, you and the other seniors, will you, if you have a good year this year, which you should, can you always look back and say, we sort of reignited the program, we got them back to where it used to be?
Yeah, the graduating seniors and my class, we were a tight group, and we went through the losing records and we went through the winning records together. So it was a big change, but when it comes down to it, it was that we had a good group of girls out there, and we all trusted each other, and that's the difference between us and the other teams. Was the other teams would depend on one person, where we depended on each other, and that's why we were winning games. And I think you also need to lose games to learn how to win games. So it was a tough loss in the LEC final games to lose by 1 to Plymouth, but they've lost 3 years in a row, so they knew how to win the game, and It was, but even looking back on it, we had a great, even though my freshman year was a big losing year, we were learning how to play together that year, and we were learning for the next year and the next year. I mean, we weren't expected to be as good as we were our sophomore year. We weren't ranked very high, but it comes down to if we're going to work together as a team or if we're going to depend on one person in the sport of lacrosse. There's 12 people on each team on the field, so you got to use those 12 players.
So the Warriors open up their 2018 season. They're going to be at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy on February 24th. They'll make their home debut on March 8th, weather permitting, hosting Wellesley College at 4 o'clock, and they'll open up the Little East Conference season March 30th at the University of Southern Maine. Allison, thanks for being with me. Good luck this year.
Thank you.